This movie is making its way back into the public spotlight for some very controversial reasons. Let's talk about that. The Blindside, a feel-good movie about kindness, love, family, community, and football. Just a side note, please excuse the messy suitcase to my right. I just got back from a trip, and there's also a bunch of Gobi Hexaglide light panels in there that I need to set up. So, yeah. Anyway, moving on. Now, for those of you who don't know what The Blind Side is, I'll quickly try to bring you up to speed. So, The Blind Side is a movie that tells the origin story of this man, Michael Oher. Now, Michael Oher grew up close to the poverty line and was known as a runaway from the foster homes that he was put in. So one day he's walking down the road after a volleyball game when this woman, Leanne Tui, sees him. After talking to him for a bit and learning that he doesn't have a place to stay, she lets him spend the night on their sofa. Now, the next day he's leaving, but she offers to let him stay through the Thanksgiving holiday because it's like November, it's cold. Now, according to the movie, because he didn't have the best environment growing up, he also sometimes struggled in school. But what he was really good at was football. So the movie basically portrays the Tui family as helping him in school and with the game until he graduates and goes to Ole Miss, aka the University of Mississippi. And after he goes to Ole Miss, in the end, he becomes a football star, and it's a true rags to riches underdog story that's based on real life events in the state of Tennessee. What more could you want from a football story set in the state of Tennessee? Well, what if I told y'all that this story actually should have been based in Detroit? Why should it have been based in Detroit, Phoenix? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because we can't have shit in Detroit. And just like we can't have shit in Detroit, it seems like we can never have a nice story without it turning out that something less than ideal was happening behind the scenes. Because it seems like, Hollywood embellishment aside, a major plot point of The Blind Side may be fake or have been twisted a bit. Now, this is because Michael Oher, the person who was supposedly adopted by the Tui family in the story, claims that he was actually placed in a conservatorship. Now, if you all don't know what a conservatorship is, think Britney Spears. Britney Spears' father had her in a conservatorship for a while, and there was that whole Free Britney thing. Yeah, something like that. Now, not necessarily to that degree, but this meant that it allowed the Tuies to make financial decisions on his behalf for things such as, I don't know, a multi-million-dollar movie. And on top of that, he's claiming that he didn't receive any money. So, and one of the most recent developments in this rags to riches based on a true stories is that Michael Oher has filed a lawsuit against the Tui family in order to terminate the conservatorship, prevent the family from using his name and likeness, and get him the money that he should have received from the movie. Now, one of the main questions you may be asking, though, is why did he wait so long? Well, there's actually an answer for that. The articles that are being written about this are claiming that it's because he actually didn't find out that he wasn't legally adopted until recently. He didn't know that he was in the conservatorship. He didn't know until February of this year, to be exact. That's what these articles are claiming. However, on the flip side of this, the family, the Tuies, are claiming that he's just giving them a shakedown. He's just trying to squeeze some money out of them. And that he did, in fact, receive money, about $14,000 from the deal, and that the conservatorship was put into place so he could play at the University of Mississippi. Now, me personally, I don't understand legal matters, like legal documents and all that, but I don't see why he had to be in a conservatorship to play at the University of Mississippi. I don't know, maybe it was some sort of loophole where he could get it as a legacy or something. I don't know. That's just me speculating. I don't see what a conservatorship has to do with you, miss, but I don't know. I'll leave it to Legal Eagle or someone to figure it out. Anyway, in addition to all this, the son, Sean, also recently went on the record as saying that he still loves Mike, but he finds it hard to believe that Michael only learned in February that he was in a conservatorship because Sean says that he reviewed some old text from 2020 or so with his family group chat saying that Michael stated that he wouldn't go public with this, the story of the conservatorship, as long as the Tuohys gave him some agreed upon amount of money. Now, if that is true and he didn't actually realize what was going on, though, can you all just imagine how much of a violation that is? Like how heartbreaking that actually would be for Michael. Like you have these people who seem to care for you during the rougher times in your life to the point where you start to consider them to be family, right? Only to realize later that they may not have even adopted you and are more or less kind of just using you for the value that you provide. Like that's honestly pretty egregious. Like I'm remembering the scene where they ask if he wants to be adopted because I'm pretty sure in the movie it says adopted. So now I'm wondering if those were the exact words that the family used. Because if so, if they actually said adopted, that's downright devious. They literally lied to him if that's the case. If they said that they were going to adopt him and put him in a conservatorship, those are, I don't know a lot about legal documents, but I know those are two completely different legal documents. Like they literally lied to him if that's the case, and it's especially egregious when you consider the fact that if you're in high school, you don't really have the resources and knowledge available to you for you to make an informed decision about something like that. You may not understand the language in what you're signing, and this person says, "Hey, I want to adopt you," and you're like, "Sure, being adopted is nice," and you may be too preoccupied with the fact that you're finally going to be adopted to even understand what a conservatorship is. I mean, I personally didn't know what a conservatorship was until the whole Britney Spears thing a few years ago. On the flip side of that, though, if he did know beforehand and is just doing this to get more money out of them, then that's also pretty egregious. Especially if they did give him money the first time that he asked for it. Like that's just greed. That's wrong. What is funny though is that while I was researching this whole thing, I saw some Reddit comments that brought up some good points about problems with the movie. Besides the whole white savior trope, this comment talks about how the movie makes it seem like he didn't know the game until the Tuohys took him in and taught him how to play. When the reality is that he played football in his freshman year of high school, according to Wikipedia, and he was already on the radar of some colleges before they adopted him. This comment specifically says D1 school, but I couldn't find anything specific in the Wikipedia article to say he was on the radar of D1 schools, so I'm just saying colleges. Someone else on Reddit brought up this point, saying that he was already going to the private school that they were sending their kids to on an academic scholarship, which is why he was friends with the son, Sean, in the first place. So it's not like he was some random homeless kid on the street. And I'm emphasizing random here because it's clear from the movie and that from Michael Oher himself that he was actually homeless. So I know the first time I watched it, I got the impression that he was a random homeless kid that was just sort of like around the high school. Now the reason I bring these points up is because it turns out that for years Michael Oher has been speaking out against the movie, talking about how he takes issue with how he's been portrayed in the movie. For example, in this Today News article, he says things like the movie portrays him as dumb, and that it makes it look like he didn't know how to play football when he'd been doing it for years, which is backed up by the Wikipedia article and just his general life because it says that he played football his freshman year of high school. And it seems like from the movie he didn't actually get adopted by the Tui family until later. So there's that. And another thing about the movie that I didn't know when I first watched it is that a lot of people have been saying it reeks of the white savior trope. Now, what is the white savior trope? If you don't know what that is, here's the definition. So yeah, it's that. Now, when I first saw it, I was in middle school and I didn't even understand what that trope was. However, looking back at the movie, when I think about the fact that it's based on a true story, I can see why people are saying that. There are a lot of things in there that just, kind of make you turn your head. And I also realized, looking at the movie, there really are no other black people in the movie aside from the ones living in poverty or Michael. So I can see why there's a whole, hey, this reeks of the white savior trope argument going on. In addition to that, there are other people insinuating that the mother, Lee Anne, may have also embellished events or made things out to be more intense than they were, which might be a valid. I, it's a valid talking point, but there's no way to verify that claim. I could see people, going into a room and saying, "Hey, how can we make this more marketable for Hollywood?" Yada yada yada. But I also want to be fair here and say that Hollywood could have played a big role in making things seem worse than they were for Michael, or the actions of the Tuohys seem better or more influential in his life path than they actually were. Because remember, guys, the concern of large studios isn't exactly truth and fairness. It's in raking as much funds as possible, as we can see from how they treat their writers and actors. But personally, I liked the movie when I first saw it. I thought it was a sweet movie, and little middle school me thought, oh, yeah, there's still some hope for humanity. However, I never really thought about the movie again after watching it until it popped up in social media. And now that I'm a bit older, I can really see that there are a lot of red flags with Hollywood's portrayal of this movie. Either way, Michael Oher filing a lawsuit against the Tuohys was not on my 2023 bingo card. So I guess in the end, you could say that we all got blindsided. Yeah. Anyway, that's basically a quick run through of the whole situation with everything that's happened so far. I'll try to keep you all posted. Maybe we'll see what comes of this lawsuit. Maybe we won't, and they'll settle out of court. Anyway, I just want to know, what do you all think of this whole situation? Do you think anything will come of this court case, or do you think the family will maybe get away with basically taking this man's money? Let me know down below in the comments. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. The subscribe part is really important for small creators like me because I'm doing all the editing and things of that nature myself. So, every new follower gives me that little hit of, oh yeah, I'm doing good. And it also grows my channel and helps me see the fruits of my labor. So, anyway, with that said, thank you all for tuning in. Please tune in next time if you have the time, and don't stop rising. See ya.